Welcome back to The Legend of Heroes Trails in the Sky. Last time, we completed our initiation to become junior bracers, and if you look at the bracer book, you can even see we have passed the test and are registered at the Roland branch. We get a bit of a rundown of our total achievements as bracers here. There's nothing for us on the board, but there's a new bracer here. Clearly these two know him. Estelle and Joshua at this point is 16. Yeah, I'll be accepting them like candy too. But before we do anything else, we must complete our most difficult task yet. Buying our dad a newspaper. Well, they did say before they'd found somewhere. Yes, take that, random child. Well, Pat seems nice at least. Yeah, I guess he's sort of a tsundere who secretly admires Estelle, he just doesn't want to admit it. So let's see if they stock the newspaper now. And that's 400 Mira left over for us to spend. And we get the recipe book. So, there are a lot of items you might have noticed those monsters dropping in the previous part. This is what we use them for, because every JRPG these days has to have a cooking mechanic, though this is actually a 2004 game, so it was, I guess, kind of ahead of its time. Usually food outclasses the healing items you can buy at shops. It tends to have additional effects as well as HP restoration. So as our tutorial, we get a maple cookie. In this world, protagonists have the magical ability to instantly learn the recipe to any food they eat. So make sure you eat every meal you can on the road. Estelle, you have magic taste buds that let you deduce the recipe of anything that you eat. I'd say most real professional chefs would kill for something like that. Shops also sell ingredients too. Often buying the ingredients needed to cook something is cheaper than buying healing items outright. Also, there are two types of meals. To-go meals create items that you can use anytime you want, while sit-down meals, you can only eat them outside of battle. And yes, it's explaining that now. So at the shop we can buy a few things. Other than healing balms, we can also get balms that restore status. Reviving balms are kind of nice to have. I might as well buy a second one of these. And we can also buy ingredients. Yeah, steak's pretty expensive. Now that we have the recipe book, though, let's head on over to the bar. Before that, though, Well, that's a weird reason to reject someone. Anyway, those are the two that we talked to before the test. An example of how NPCs have their own personal storylines that they all go about while you're advancing the plot yourself. Also, here's someone else that Estelle and Joshua have known since childhood. So what we really came here to do is to eat wholesome pasta, which gives us that recipe. That's a sit-down meal. And buy the other dishes here. French fries, flowery soda, and carmine eye. And now I'm broke. The reason why I'm doing this is, as you can probably guess, there is an achievement for filling the recipe book. So I'm going to actually... I think I have enough healing items for the time being. I'm actually going to go ahead and eat all of these now, just to get the recipes out of the way. Because yes, a lot of food is missable in this game too. So here's the recipe book, here are the recipes that we have so far. We seriously lack the ingredients to cook anything right now, but we'll be getting more ingredients as we progress through the game. Now, before we head out of town, it might be worth our while to go into the books section here and read Lebel News Issue 1, because, again, there is an achievement for reading every issue of the Lebel News, and we do end up losing this by giving it to our father later. Featured story, The Queen's 60th is nigh, a milestone anniversary. The half-year countdown to Her Majesty Queen Alicia's 60th birthday celebration has begun. This has been a banner year for Her Royal Highness, sparking more anticipation than this event has ever seen before. But we must not forget too that this year is the 10th since the 100 Days War, a period of intense turmoil for all Lebel. As we celebrate, let us also reflect on the tragedies of the past, so that we may refrain from ever reliving them in the future. We have been afforded this luxury of hindsight, and we must use it to the fullest. Preparations underway in the royal city. Main Street is filled with the bustle of men and women furiously preparing decor and merchandise for the upcoming festivities, and developing new products specifically for sale during the celebration. The competition is truly cutthroat. I yearn for my customers' taste buds to sing with delight, says Miss Sorbet, local ice cream purveyor, who chose a very fitting profession for her name, who deals her wares in the city's East Block. Sadly, her new menu will remain a mystery to us until the days of the festival. As the population grows, more and more businesses pop up all around me. But all that means is more customers, especially at festival time, so I'm certainly not complaining, she exclaims with a sly smile. Miss Sorbet seems to have a few tricks up her sleeve, so to all her competitors we say, watch out. Who shall stand, who shall fall? Prior to the festival, Her Majesty will be hosting our annual martial arts competition in the Royal Arena. This fiercely competitive tournament is always a big hit, with some avid spectators even regarding it as the day's main event. Which team will come out on top? You know that whenever they mention a tournament in an RPG, you inevitably end up competing in it. But we'll see how that turns out later. Society. Burglaries across the Bose region, or Bose, I'm not 100% sure how that's pronounced. According to our sources, the Bose region has seen a string of burglaries over the last several days, and the people have had enough. The Royal Army Border Patrol stationed at the Hucken Gate has been stepping up efforts to apprehend the group of criminals responsible for these acts, and anyone with information on their identities is urged to contact the Border Patrol immediately. Travel, finding the perfect getaway. The Kingfisher Inn along the beautiful Valeria Lakeshore is more popular than ever following a visit from the women of the royal city. Won't you come and fish with us too? Anyway, now that we have our newspaper, let's try and head back home. Or will we? Yeah, we knew they were going to get into trouble sooner or later. We are braces after all. I understand why she's hesitant to risk juniors on a job like this, though. So we have to head out to the Malga Trail. Let's rescue a jerk Tsundere child and his non-jerk friend. So before we go, I guess I can show off the weapon shop since we'll be heading into monster territory. I spent most of my money on food, but here we can buy some new weapons for Estelle and Joshua, as well as armor, and shoes as well as accessories. The Trail series is kind of cool with their accessories. They make you outright immune to certain ailments right off the bat, which is pretty convenient. But anyway, time to go over another achievement. There is an achievement for getting every weapon available in the game. So, when you have the money to afford it, I recommend buying every weapon available in every shop. We don't need to buy the leather vest because, as you can see by inventory 2, that's what we have on Estelle and Joshua right now. There's also an achievement for getting every piece of armor in the game. Boots don't count for that, thankfully. And for that achievement, note that you don't technically need to buy the armor vest, because we'll be getting a new party member later who starts with one. But the weapons, we definitely need to buy those as soon as we have the money. Thankfully, we will be finding a source of income soon. It's time for our first real job as braces. Before that, though, there is one more thing we have to do before leaving Roland's, and this also relates to achievements and reading. We need to head into this house right next to the bar. Upstairs, one of these houses, not this one, except I believe this is actually the grandmother of, yep, this is Luke's grandmother. Well, hopefully we'll have your grandson back soon. This house right here, full of books. If we talk to Rhett, he gives us Carnelia Chapter 1. There is an achievement for getting every Carnelia and reading them all. Some of these are permanently missable. So, you need to be pretty diligent about talking to every NPC at every possible point in the game, because often, yeah, some of them are a little obscure. Let's see what you have to say. She is a very precocious child. You can read Carnelia in the books menu. I might do a dramatic reading of this as a separate, kind of unlisted series, maybe. I would also like to point out that Carnelia is a work of fiction and definitely is not related to any real events at all. So, let's head for the Malga Trail exit. So this is our first real taste of exploration and combat. If we attack an enemy from behind, we get a preemptive attack. These here are flying felines. They take 20% more damage from all elements, so let's fire away with magic. We don't need to worry too much about spending our EP for two reasons. The first is that you actually get healed on leveling up in this game. The second is that we can go back to the sewers at any time to use the heal points. Also, 10% strength up turns also apply to magic in this game, as do critical turns. You'll also notice that Joshua is so fast, he can often cast spells before enemies get a chance to move. Flying felines have an attack where they charge up power and then deal a more powerful hit to you, but they're not too bad. We just harvested flesh from a flying cat. That's kind of horrifying. Now, we want to pay careful attention to the plants here, because some of them are monsters. This here is a lily mover. They are very easy to get preemptive strikes on. They're also extremely weak to fire. What we have right now is a critical turn. Any attack on this turn is a guaranteed critical. Unfortunately, nobody's in range to attack, and if I use a spell, obviously I don't get my turn immediately. So I can't make use of that. S-breaks are obviously very good to unleash on critical turns. As you can see here, this thing takes double damage from fire. I don't think I'll even need to use Estelle. By having Estelle move there, I actually swipe the 10% strength turn from the enemy, which is useful since Lily movers actually hit pretty hard, especially on the higher difficulties.
We're good to go.
I've actually died quite a bit in this area on my first playthrough, which is on hard mode. You also don't want to run too much because running makes monsters spot you more easily. Okay, 3 flying felines. Let's go for the firebolts. This is a Seepeth up turn. If we attack an enemy on one of these turns, we'll get more Seepeth after the battle. You saw a few gems just scatter when we hit the enemy there. Enemies can get Seepeth up turns too, but I believe they don't do anything, although I could be wrong about that. If I do this, I'll immediately finish off this one. I suppose while we're here, now might be a good time to talk about Estelle and Joshua in terms of overall gameplay. I want to save my S-Craft for a bit later. As I said before, Joshua is a speedy glass cannon. He has pretty flinty defense, but he's slightly above average at using magic, and his physical attacks aren't bad. I won't spoil the crafts that the characters learn at this point in the game. I want to cover the crafts whenever we learn new ones. But Joshua does learn some very strong crafts, a lot of them with some very powerful effects like delay. Delay is really useful in this game, and yeah, I had a feeling that wasn't quite a preemptive strike. I guess we can see here what Lily movers actually do. They shoot you with long-range attacks from a distance. I guess I can use Tear here preemptively? Yeah, as you can see, they actually hit pretty hard. Don't hit Joshua, please. Okay, that's bad. I might need to run here. Thankfully in this game, running is almost guaranteed, so you don't need to worry too much about getting in over your head in battles most of the time. So now that we've lost a party member, I want to show something. Like a typical RPG, we can pay at the inn to heal. Also, he's going to give us a little bit of backstory info here. We can pay at the inn to heal, but why would you when you can go to the sewers and use the heal point for free? It's always a good idea to memorize the locations of free healing points in this game, because they help you save money on inns and other things. Roland just happens to have a very convenient free heal points. While we're here, we can check out the unusual guest who's staying in the hotel. She's not saying too much right now. Okay, this should be enough for a level up on both Estelle and Joshua, which will let me demo the fact that when you level up in this game, you recover all your HP and EP, which is very useful. Not CP though. Recovering CP is a lot trickier. Something to note about CP as well is that if a character goes unconscious, they lose all their CP, and this can make it very hard to come back in battles if you suffer an early devastating blow, so you want to be careful. This is number 1 of 3 treasure chests on the Malga Trail. We'll only be getting 2 on this pass though. Not a thing remains in this chest except a lonely, dead spider. I'll be trying to show all the chest quotes that I can. So, in Malga Trail Area 2, the path splits. There are much stronger enemies on the right-hand path, so I'm not going to go that way for now. You can do that, and it will lead you to an extra chest, but we'll be going that way for the story later anyway, so I'm going to put it off for the moment. Yes, turn around, cat, so I can ambush you. So now that I've talked about Joshua, let's talk about Estelle. Estelle, like I said earlier, is a jack of all trades. She's not the best at anything, but she can do a little bit of everything. Her ornament is fairly balanced, and she's not amazing at using magic, but she isn't terrible either. Now, Estelle and Joshua are both force party members for the entire game. In this game, it's pretty much pointless to talk about character viability, because you have zero control over who's in your party until the final dungeon. Here's the second chest. The chest is empty. I wonder whose fault that is. So, really, discussing which characters are better or worse than other characters, like I said, is pretty much pointless. but Estelle and Joshua will be using for the entire game, so it's worth your while to get to know them for each of their strengths. I still want to save my S-Craft for now. Overall, I actually find Estelle a little bit underwhelming for the most part. She kind of suffers from jack-of-all-trades, master-of-none syndrome, in that she's not amazing at anything, really, and there are a lot of really great magic specialists in this game, and a couple of okay physical specialists. Unlike the last RPG that I played on the channel, Persona Q, magic is definitely better than physical attacks in Trails in the Sky, but only slightly. Physical attacks aren't entirely worthless, don't worry. Overall, later in the game, I honestly end up using Estelle more as a buffer and a supporter, because she's one of the few people who doesn't have much better to do with her turn. She is, however, one of the tankiest characters in the party, like in terms of raw defense, so setting her up as a tank I find is also pretty good. What do I mean by setting her up? Well, that involves the augment system. I'll be going into that a little bit later because, yeah, that is kind of complicated. I'll talk at length about augments in the next part, I think. I'm just concentrating on talking about the battle system. Through here is the Esmelis Tower. Before we enter, though, I'm going to go back to town and heal. Okay, here we are, the place where the kids ran off to. The tower that's supposedly a nest for monsters. So you might want to save before heading to the tower, not just because there'll be a forced fight, but because there's a dialogue choice coming up that if you say the wrong thing, you will be locked out of 100% BP. Here we are in the tower, which has pretty nice music too. Luke, you jerk. I like to turn the map around a little bit here. I like how there's trees growing even inside the tower. Something to note as well, remember that you can spin the map around to get a good view of the area just in front of the entrance. That will be important for later in the game, trust me. So, here is the question. In order to get the maximum BP here, we have to not be a Leroy Jenkins idiot and go in together with Joshua. They are about to be swarmed by flying cats. Thankfully, we one-shotted two of them in the cutscene. And it's fight time. Protect all NPCs. If an NPC's HP reaches 0, the game is over. Now, in FC, this usually isn't so bad. In SC, on the other hand, oh boy, I'm going to be ranting about NPC escort missions in that game, but that will be for later. So, we have 3 flying felines here. I guess Josh will start off by casting a firebolt at one of them. Estelle's very close to maxing out her CP too, so I guess she'll hang back and maybe use an Apple Bleed. I will say though, I like most of the music in this game. Well, I mean, I love most of the music in this game. This is actually the game's boss theme. Like, it's generic boss theme at least. And, having played Cold Steel first and being burned by the absolutely amazing song, Tire Link of Arcus, this can't help but come across as a really underwhelming track, by comparison. Okay, we have 2 flying felines that are almost dead. Let's see if I can't use my S-brakes to finish this quickly. Okay, let's hopefully not miss one of them. It can be useful to use arts in this fight, because these flying felines do tend to dodge physical attacks quite a bit. Okay, I'll use this one, Joshua S-Craft, and take out the other weak one. Now, there's something really weird about Joshua's S-Craft in the Steam version. I found there's a weird glitch that sometimes if you skip the animation, it won't do damage. And now I will S-Break with Estelle and hopefully kill this one. Estelle doesn't have this problem. You can skip her just fine. I'm just showing it for this point in the game because, yeah, they look kind of cool, I guess. And no damage on either of the kids. I will say that on Nightmare, that fight can actually be a bit of a problem. I would recommend going in there with high CP. See, like I said, he actually does admire Estelle, he just doesn't want to admit it. Except, he definitely needs a bit of a stern talking to. After what he did. Estelle? I don't see you over there. There's a monster incoming. Even when she's in grave danger, she still has amazing dialogue. And Deus Ex Dad. She was close, though. She'd only noticed that monster sooner. But you can't expect them to be perfect at their jobs, at this point. Normally, I'd say, yeah, you're being a jerk, but in Cassius's case, that's actually true. He's a gazillion times more awesome than everyone. In fact, Cassius Bright defines the term gazillion. It's a unit of measurement used to refer to how much more powerful he is than everything around him. Yeah, Joshua said it. It's kind of amusing how many people think that if Cassius Bright was the central character in a game, he would probably be the biggest Gary Stu of all time, but he avoids that fate by being a minor character in the grand scheme of things. So we get +1 BP for that quest because we chose to run in simultaneously with Joshua during that dialogue choice. We're still only 9th class juniors, though. And that's the end of our first official mission as Braces. But Estelle's kind of depressed right now. I alluded to this before. One way to handle an overpowered NPC ally of the heroes is to make it so that they're incredibly busy with other work all the time. No current job listings on the board. Now, while we're here, I believe... Estelle seems a bit apprehensive if you go near the clock tower. If we go up to the observation deck... It turns out these two did end up getting together in the end. just a nice little showcase of, like I said before, how the NPCs in this game have their own little subplots that are going on parallel to yours. If we head upstairs into this house, we can actually talk to Luke and Pat. And yeah, even the others will react to what just happened. It's just details like that that just really make this world feel so alive. Now with all this extra money, let's buy a better weapon for Estelle. And let's go to the menu to equip that. In this game, weapons are just a flat increase to your strength stat. Same with armor for your defense stat. So that's an interesting way of handling it. Technically speaking, in Fire Emblem it works like that too, you just have to do the calculations yourself. So that's Murano. Remember her, she's actually going to be slightly important later. That girl's already learned how to navigate the town. Interesting. I think we've done pretty much everything we can here. Let's head home. And back at home sweet home. Cass is in the study this time. Why do I get the feeling this letter's not going to be good news? Cassius is definitely a bit out there sometimes. Interestingly enough, anything you cook with Estelle on the field is perfectly fine. It's only in story that she does things like that. Well, that can't be good. I actually kind of wish you could get that as a recipe in this game, but you can't. Slipping bad news into casual dinner conversation. Oh no, Cassius Bright is leaving. That means this entire region is unprotected. Yeah, we're about to be a lot busier. Well, slightly busier. So, yeah, he's actually a bit younger than you might expect. You can actually go to the Roland airport at this point and talk to the people there. And I believe they do talk about the flights at that point. Fitting for a name like Trails in the Sky, this game loves airships. You'll be seeing a lot of them later on. There's definitely a lot more to how these two know each other than Joshua is telling Estelle. And that officially begins the prologue, A Father's Love, A New Beginning.